walked along the street that evening, something ominous unsettled her. She heard footsteps behind her, and in her peripheral vision she saw a shadow. Goosebumps spread on the back of her neck. The feeling was unmistakable and all too familiar. She was being followed again. Feeling helpless and small, a fury welled inside her as she recalled other times she had been followed before. Something inside her snapped. She was not going to let this stranger steal her happiness anymore. Hi, I'm Garvin DeShazer, and this is your Daily Inspiration. It was a calm, quiet evening, and she was headed to a stand-up show at her favorite local club. As she reached the intersection, that distinct feeling of unease surfaced again, but this time, rather than tucking her head down and pretending nothing was wrong, she took a chance and looked back at the man. He was kind of an unassuming sort of guy, like 55, she said. He had brown hair, a leather jacket, and I think he had glasses. She continued walking. Maybe he's not following me after all, she thought, but simply walking in my direction. However, after a few blocks, the man was still right behind her, and she knew her original suspicions were right. Whenever she picked up her pace, he walked faster to stay right behind her. When she slowed, so did he. When she crossed the street, he crossed the street with her. I don't know what happened in that moment, she said, but something in my brain just snapped. Recalling the times in the past that she'd been followed and refusing to stay in that feeling of powerlessness, she made the unthinkable decision. She wheeled around to face the man following her and began to follow him. He was about a foot behind me, Sophie says. He had this moment of panic on his face. I started following behind him at pretty close range, in a really exaggerated way. I was smacking my shoes on the concrete and making swishing sounds with my arms. He kept looking over his shoulder back at me with this confused and kind of terrified expression on his face. As she continued, the man ducked into a convenience store, but she followed him right into the store. He did this terrible job of pretending that he was reading a magazine, Sophie says. He just grabbed a random magazine off the shelf, and I grabbed one as well, and I just stood there looking at him. After a few minutes of that, he left the store, and I left the store, and eventually we got to the subway. He just disappeared down the escalator into the subway, and I stood at the top of the escalator and said, "Bye-bye." It really felt good. So how did Sophie manage to transform a frightening experience in which she felt powerless to one of triumph and strength? She made a quick decision to refuse to be ruled by either a stranger's actions or her own past emotions, and she acted immediately on that decision. The truth is, we need not ever feel helpless, small, or powerless in any given situation. Although Sophie's decision was risky, some might even say reckless, it was a bold move that got her out of a tough situation, and more importantly, allowed her to break out of her feelings of helplessness. You know, with some advanced planning, we can usually avoid putting ourselves in these kinds of situations. A safe bet is to make a practice of thinking in advance about where along your route there are likely to be crowds of other people, or stores that may have security. Of course, it's always good to know where the nearest police or fire station is. Keep your cell phone in your hand and be ready to call 911 if you feel threatened. Regardless of your strategy, remember that you are not helpless and you are never alone. What can you do today to break out of the familiar fears and feelings that drag you down? What factors combine to steal your happiness, whether a sense of imminent danger or simply a difficult interaction? And are you ready to stop being a prisoner of those factors? Can you say, "I am bold, I am strong, and I am courageous," and awaken the valiant hero in you? Whether you see it or not, you have it in you. Thanks for listening. May your day be filled with love, laughter, and joy. Bye for now.
Hi, this is Scott, producer for the Daily Inspirations podcast. We hope you're enjoying these stories, and if you'd like more inspiration in your life, visit mydailyim.com. You can find weekend blog posts, sign up for our email update list, and you can let us know about an inspirational story you'd like us to cover. Or just say hi. We'd love to hear from you.